And now on the line to talk about the upcoming budget is Oisín Hassan, a Vice President of the USI. Oisín, welcome to the programme.
Thanks for having me.
Oisín, I'm particularly interested in your housing and education policies in relation to the budget that's going to be announced in the Dáil. Could you tell us what they are, and feel free to talk about any of your other policies if you want for the budget also.
Yeah, so every year we launch a pre-budget submission to lobby the government on the key issues facing our students. And over the last number of years, I think it's fair to say that the government have ignored the plight of our students and of higher education more generally. In terms of accommodation, the housing crisis is having a severe effect on our students. We reckon that anywhere up to 25,000 beds additional are needed right now. So we're calling for an investment to meet that crisis head on and to start to build purpose-built student accommodation. And what we mean by that is that would be on-campus accommodation that's at a much more affordable cost than the luxury stuff that's been built by private developers. In terms of that investment, you're looking at around €100,000 to build a single bed, which is an incredible amount of money, but it's desperately needed in the midst of the housing crisis that's affecting everyone, not just students. On education more generally, we have a range of policies around grant investment and a reduction of the student contribution charge. The student contribution charge obviously went up during the austerity years quite rapidly as the government divested over 40% of funding from institutions themselves. So students carried the burden of that divestment. And what we're asking for is that the current €3,000 would be reduced by €500 in the following year. And they can slowly start to roll back that cost on students and reinvest into education specifically.
How are students on a national level finding, like college started back up in the last month for the next academic year, like on a national level, how bad is it like for the students starting college this year or in college this year, you know?
Well, accommodation, we know that rent prices have been going up by huge amounts every quarter for the past number of years, and in the first quarter of 2018 they went up 11.5% again. So we know that students are really facing the pressure of that. We have fairly strong evidence now emerging that a lot of students are choosing to commute to college. So you're looking at people travelling 5, 6, 7 hours a day. That severely limits their ability to engage in their education and to really to study and to learn and to experience the entire the real entirety of what's on offer in college. A lot of students or young people are choosing not to go into education at all. If you're maybe considering going back to education in later years, and you've got other worries that you're not going to take on the burden of that. We're really concerned that dropout is going to go up in the next couple of years because of all of that pressure, and we've already got a pretty high dropout rate in this country.
The USI, you were big organisers or supporters of the Raise the Roof demonstration last week, weren't you?
Yeah, we were indeed. We were involved in the coalition now for over a year and a half. So that really was a big moment for us all, and we're very proud of our 6,000 students who came out and joined that Raise the Roof rally and demonstrated to the government the severity of what's happening.
To talk a bit about education, your proposals for free education to me really make sense. Could you, you've mentioned one policy there. Could you tell us a little bit more about your policies on free education?
Yeah, well, in terms of publicly funding education, the Cassell's report that came out a number of years ago now outlined the major funding crisis that there is in higher education and how students have filled the gap on that. Government have removed money from institutions and placed the burden on students, so that's why we're asking for the student contribution charge to be rolled back. A part of that as well is that city grants were cut quite severely in 2011 and 2012 during the height of austerity, and we're calling now for reinvestment back into grants. There are a lot of students who simply can't access the grant. With living costs going up as well, there's a lot of students with the grant who actually simply can't. They're well below the breadline. That's a huge part of being able to attend college and be a full-time student. If you're a full-time student, then you need the support in order to be able to go into college, and we know that access in this country remains a huge issue, and for a big part of our population, third level was unreachable, and it definitely is now.
And you're calling for the Grad Talk grant to be brought back in again, aren't you?
We are indeed. So there's what the grant would cover is the placement time that, say, a student teacher would spend in the Gaeltacht, which is obviously incredibly important, so that for the professional practice as educators later on in their career, whenever they're already facing a fee burden, they're maybe paying rent near their college, high cost of living, their ability to attend the Gaeltacht. It basically, it's a huge fee on top of everything else that they're already facing. That fee was covered previously, and it was a victim of austerity years, and we're asking for that to go back in. There's so many student teachers out there who are paying the fee. They're buying materials for their own classes. Whenever they're in teaching practice. I mean, it's totally unsustainable as a model for young teachers.
I think all education in Ireland, preschool, primary, second level and third level, should be totally free, or at least means tested, so that people can afford it, Just go on here, want to say something?
Oh no, I was just going to say that, I mean, that we're very much, in terms of primary, secondary and third level, we believe that access should absolutely always be open to everyone. It's not about ability. We know that our young people and all of our people have the ability to learn throughout their lifetime, and that access should always be available to them.
Have you and the USI met with the Minister for Finance and any of the other government ministers in the last few months? And if you have, can you tell me if you've got any indications that there's going to be any positive news in the budget regarding your positions?
We haven't met with the Minister for Finance specifically, but we would be lobbying and working with a number of the other ministers, especially the Minister for Higher Education, Mary Mitchell O'Connor. But we do run a lobby day every year, and this year we had the most ever TDs and senators attend, so we got to speak directly with 130 of them. We've been following up with all of them ever since, and I think we've been putting pressure, especially in Fine Gael. They are in government, but Fianna Fáil, they get to sign off on this budget too, so we've been asking for more commitment from them. It's been a number of years now since there's been any serious investment in third level education, and there's a very worrying news today that there's going to be €300 million tax relief for landlords. Whenever we know that tenants are under pressure, there's €500 million being put away in a rainy day fund. What we're saying to the government is it's already raining, and it's raining heavy, and that €500 million needs to go into public services. We understand the need to save for economic shock, but if you're not investing in your public services, that in itself is an economic shock that affects ordinary people in their everyday lives, and education is a part of that. So what we're saying to government is tomorrow's D-Day for them, and we want to see measures that really improve public services and third level education in Ireland.